Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Today, I'm going to do another video. I have a lot of conversations with my keyboard player, and one thing about the bands I played in, not only these people that I play with are my musical comrades, they're my friends. I mean, we can hang out in non-musical situations. You know, they come over to my house, I go over to theirs, we have dinner, we do things together, we're like brothers. So, you know, that's one reason why the majority of people that I've played with, I still play with. You know, there's actually a few people in my band situation that I've been playing with since I was 16. You know, that's just how tightly knit we are. And we have these discussions, and, you know, my keyboard player, who I'm going to try to get on one of my shows one day, because he's a little bashful in front of the camera, we talk about these things, and he said that this will make a good topic for, you know, for your listeners to experience. So I'm going to entitle this one Living in the 80s. And I recently did a topic on my talk show, Tell It Like It Is. It was called What Was Your Favorite Decade? Hands down for me personally, it was the 80s. I mean, I was in my 20s. Everything was looking up, you know, moving forward. Everything was just good. The music was good. Everything in my life was just about perfect. And, you know, you enjoy and reminisce about those good old days, because by no means I'm negative or dark, you know, but as you get older, you have to deal with health issues, people passing away, you know, and things of that nature. It's just a part of life, regardless if you like it or not. But I entitled this video, and I'm going to try to condense it, Living in the 80s. And I'm going to be talking about it from the musical standpoint, because the 80s, when it came around, it changed R&B forever. I mean, I know that music evolves and it changes, but something happened in the 80s, actually like the late 70s, technically, that changed the face of R&B music, because people that was a part of the music scene and musicians at that point know what I'm talking about, and you know where I'm going with this. I started playing guitar in my teens, in the 70s, and, you know, that style of music at that time, structure-wise, R&B tunes, they had two guitar players. One guy playing the rhythm, another guy playing the little chicken picking, the lines and the lead stuff. And even a lot of bands even had two keyboard players. They had the piano guy and kind of the organ guy thing, so or clavinet. So something happened in the late 90s or the late 70s that changed music for R&B forever, because synthesizers came into the play. And when synthesizers came into the play, and they were created by a gentleman by the name of Robert or Bob Moog, the Moog synthesizers. When synthesizers came into play, it changed the structure of the band, the physical structure, because again, back in the late 70s, there was usually two guitar players, you know, in every song, and bass player and keyboard and drums, actual acoustical drums. So when the synthesizers came around, and the first time I heard it on wax, the bass line, synthesized bass line, was Flashlight by the Parliament. Real innovative sound, funky groove, but guess what? It started to take off. A lot of bands now start to incorporate these synthesized bass, you know, parts. So it's like, where does that lead the actual bass player? And for a while, they were trying to do this, because the Time did it for a while, and it was like, it's just not kind of working here. The bass player was sharing the bass line with the synthesizer line, and the bass player was responsible for like a couple of, you know, thumps here and there. But, you know, it was just two things crowding space. And, of course, the guitar players suffered, because then here comes the synthesizers that became thrusted into the forefront of the sound of the 80s. Whether it was R&B groups or pop bands, there was heavy synthesizers, so there was not a lot for guitar players to do. We definitely got weeded out when it came to the rhythm, because we were just kind of left to kind of do a couple of picking lines. So there was like, instead of two guitar players, now just one guy doing this. So I was fortunate, because I grew up in the era musically where everybody wanted to be Prince. So just about everybody in my neighborhood was musicians, could play at least 3 instruments. I was playing guitar, I was playing horn or trumpet, I was playing keyboards, I was playing drums, you know. So when that change came around, when I started to audition for bands, because there were two types of keyboard players now in these 80s bands. It was the guy that played the main chorus, and it was the guy who played these beautiful string patches, you know, throughout the song, and you didn't really need to know a whole lot of this, just as long as you can kind of, you know, do that synthesize, that strings, synthetic string thing. And so when I auditioned for a lot of bands, I could play piano, you know, so I play a little piano, but I told them, you know, I want to do the synthesizer thing because I love those different synthesized sound patches. And I was good at mixing these types of sounds together because I had a Yamaha DX7 and a Korg M1, I believe. So for a long time, people didn't even know I played guitar because during the 80s, I was like, yeah, baby, you know, jump, you know, and playing Van Halen, Jump, the synthesized line, the opening, all that stuff. So I was fortunate because I was able to kind of shift my game, so to speak, from guitar playing to piano playing, because for a long time I put my guitar up under the bed. I mean, literally, it stayed there for several years because I was playing synthesizer. I mean, I love the 80s and that era of playing these beautiful strings and exotic synthesized sounds and patches. So for a long time, people didn't even know I played guitar. And then kind of a resurge of quote-unquote old school music came back there and said, okay, it's too much of this synthesized fluff stuff. Let's get back to the bass players. Let's get back to the guitar rhythms and then the lead stuff. So then I went back, you know, and picked up my guitar again and started playing. But I guess the point I'm making is it's good to be versatile and not be closed-minded. You know, there's nothing wrong with I just want to play guitar. Fine, but at least bring something else to the table, because I had so much to offer when I went into these bands. Because again, I played several different instruments. I wrote, I arranged. You know, there was a lot of groups that I played and they didn't even know that I could write until they heard these other bands that they've seen around town, and they've had original compositions, and they say this is the guy that wrote it, and it's like, that guy in my band. You know, so it's good to just try to be versatile. It's not an ego thing, you know, like, oh, I can do all this. No, it's a productive thing that, you know, if you can do several different things, when one dies off or goes into dormant, you can rely on these other things, because again, the 80s crushed a lot of musicians. I mean, bass players was becoming obsolete. Guitar players become obsolete because everybody was doing again the synthesized thing, and then drummers when they came into the studio. We don't need you because we got drum machines. So, you know, it's important to be able to have different things that you can fall back on in life, as opposed to this is just my one-trick pony. But when that pony breaks down, where are you going now? What are you going to do? You know, so I stress these people that want to play guitar, learn structure of song if you don't do anything else, because you become a much better guitar player or musician and work quickly. Because people ask me all the time, how do you put together all these songs so quickly? It's not that I have all day to sit around to do this. I have a plan, a structure. You know, it doesn't take me that long to learn most of these songs, you know, except for the Al Green stuff, you know, because that's going to take you a while. The Luther Vandross, the Anita Baker, the Steely Dan, those groups, yeah, you're going to have to sit down and map out and chart out their songs, because it's not a cakewalk. But, you know, the stuff of today, you know, 3-chord songs. I mean, I did a little research, and this is not bragging anything. It's just to make a point that me singularly have more videos covers than anybody on YouTube. I repeat, me singularly have more than any other videos or covers than anybody on YouTube. And I haven't been doing this for that long period of time. There's some people that have been here 8, 9, 10 years, got 600 videos. You know, so it lets you know that what I do is working. And what I do can work for you too, because again, I have DVDs for sale, and they walk you through cutting through the chase of this stuff that you're going to spend a year to learn, which is not going to be useful in your plan. And this is the stuff you need to focus on, because this is just going to come in to play just about every time you pick up your guitar or your instrument. You know, so I'm going to wrap this one up, because again, I'm entitling this Living in the 80s and what took place musically that changed the landscape for music basically forever. You know, but there are some, you know, groups that are trying to research that 70s thing where, you know, we have all real players, you know, no synthesized drums and no synthesized bass loops or synthesized loops. These are just guys that are playing, you know, and I thank God that I grew up in that era, because, you know, a lot of things took place in the 60s and the 70s that just really shaped me as a musician and as a person, you know. So, and until next time, take care, and thanks for watching.